over here a minute. So, there in travers left, Luann's doing a pretty good job. She's able to keep the horse bent towards this direction here, the quarters in off the track. There's really quite a lot of stability to his body positioning and to hers. Her axis is really good. What Luann hasn't realised though is that the movement she's riding is really the same as half pass left. So in theory, Luann, that means you already know how to do it.
Theory. Good theory, right.
So if I were to put a row of jump poles, let's say from C to A, on a diagonal line from E to A, and Luann were to come down the long side and want to ride half pass from E to A, if that row of jump poles was actually a wall, it would be the same as riding travers along the wall. His nose would keep looking at A, and his shoulders and his forehand would keep going along the wall with the quarters a little off the wall. Now that's the same movement you've just ridden. You did have the poles in front of you there to stop it going wrong, whereas here you're only going to have an imaginary one. But it's actually the same thing. We're just going to travers.
Before we see Luann's problems with half pass, we see her in travers right.
Remember the feeling of me pulling on your backside and pushing on your thigh. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. How clear's your shelf there, Luann?
Pretty good.
Okay, keep going for it. Okay, good. Travers down the next long side. Okay, and from R. So as Luann goes away from us, you can see that her body tends to lean away from the way she wants to go. And as that happens, his quarters trail, and he barely, in fact, does leg yielding. It's almost as if he's heading towards K with his shoulder bulging out to the right.
This time she starts very well, but after the first two steps he throws his rib cage to the right and falls on his shoulder towards the opposite track. Also notice that her axis is off again.
Okay, never mind, just go straight on. Come back again, Luann, change rein, okay, to come back up here. As Luann attempts to ride half pass here going away from us, you can see that what happens is that her body goes off axis this way. And the more desperate she gets, the further this way she tends to lean, the more she tends to kick with this leg, and the more haywire everything goes. It's the same principle that we've seen in shoulder in, that riders tend to really overdo it on the side they're trying to move the horse away from, and totally forget about organising the body on the side they want to go to. What's happening here too, as he just kind of bulges onto his right shoulder, is that his rib cage bulges way to the right. So Luann's leaning this way, the horse's rib cage is moving that way, his nose is probably slightly bent away from the way he's going, and he's sort of falling over to that side of the arena. She has a huge big bulge of rib cage under this thigh, no rib cage at all under this thigh. So my suggestion to her was that she thought much more about the rib cage and where it was, and thought of making a little shelf kind of here under her left seat bone and the top of her left thigh, to try and get a sense of the rib cage coming out rather than just dropping down and ducking out this way. Now it isn't so much that when you're in half pass there must be a huge bulge of rib cage this way. On another person the horse might be bulging that way too much and we'd have to adjust it a little bit the other. The point is that we need a more symmetrical rib cage, and because it's so extreme in this direction, Luann's going to have to think about keeping it really extreme in that direction. That way she's got a chance of keeping a square rib cage under herself and something more symmetrical to sit on.
So we'll come back to walk to give Luann more chance of getting this. And we'll begin from travers, as she already does this quite well. As she comes across the diagonal, I'm going to act as the wall.
Think of him bending more right here, Luann. You're going to round an arc of a little circle. You're going to pretend I'm the wall. Good, and you're still looking for your shelf, like you're trying to get your left side really clearly here. Okay, now go straight, put his body behind his nose. All right, and now reposition for half pass.
This is really useful for the rider because she needs to know how to reposition into the movement after it's gone wrong.
The step needs to be a little slower. All right, so he's not running it, that's it. So he's not running out of the movement with you. Good, that was very well rescued.